guarantee, as Thailand did, a minimum guarantee of payment. If you produce rice, the government will guarantee a fixed price for it. And by that, they were able to double, triple production. There are those who have arguments against that particular supply side type of intervention. But at least it has led to the kinds of growth that we've seen in Thailand. Thailand, it's mainly an agro-allied economy, although they now have gone into other fields and other areas. But we think that some intervention of that nature will be important in order to improve our general agricultural output and improve jobs in that particular area. We think that the knowledge economy is one that we have to invest in. We've talked about the technology parks, where, just as you have industrial parks, we think that technology parks are important also, where government would actually invest with private sector participation in providing some infrastructure in technology that startup businesses in technology can use, in the same way that we encouraged industry, in the same way that we encourage the industrial settlements. We think that we can encourage technology in much the same way, by providing at least the basics. In Lagos State, for example, there's the Lagos Power Academy. The Lagos Power Academy is in some senses a template for some of what we intend to do. Now, that Power Academy is a public-private sector collaboration. What happens there is that because we know that there will be growth in that industry, now that it's been privatized, that its generation and distribution has been privatized, leaving transmission, there will be growth in the power sector. And some of the policies that we intend to introduce, we hope will produce that growth. So there will be several jobs in that area, and people need to be trained. And the Power Academy is a collaboration between the state government and Siemens. And they are actually providing training for all aspects of that whole power value chain. And the training is already tied to some type of jobs in the power sector. And we think that just providing the infrastructure, as the Power Academy has done, providing the infrastructure, providing the training, and collaboration with the private sector in various areas of technology and science can really help, especially very many young people who have entrepreneurial ambitions and skills, to get into the market and do something really great, not just for themselves, but for the entire economy. Manufacturing and assembly, entertainment and sports are areas of diversification. Of course, we all know today that entertainment is big in Nigeria. Of course, there are downsides, and I'm going to take a look at that in a moment also. But entertainment is big. We have to invest in helping those in entertainment in particular. And perhaps one of the greatest investments we can make is in protecting intellectual property, protecting that whole industry from piracy. Piracy is a major problem of that industry. I was speaking to some entertainers, some people in the entertainment industry, and many say to me, especially those who sing in particular, many say to me that unless they are invited to performances, they cannot make any money from their CDs. They can't make any money at all. That the only way that they can make money is if they're invited to performances. So if you are not a performing artist and you make CDs and DVDs, you can't make money. And that is a major industry for this country. So we've got to work hard on protection of intellectual property in order to make all of this come together in entertainment. Small businesses, of course, I heard Leke talk about small businesses in particular. And I think that that's an area where a lot needs to happen. We need to be talking more about credit, microcredit in that area, training, entrepreneurial training, and the kinds of things that Leke spoke about, incubators, and then a lot of personal help. I think that it is true that many people who are coming into the job market are ill-prepared for the challenges of the 21st century workplace. Ill-prepared from the point of view of education, ill-prepared from the point of view of exposure generally. But we think that that space, that whole vacuum can be filled by proactive government policy, especially in training, in collaboration with the private sector, in offering entrepreneurial training, in changing the education curriculum, which I'm going to talk about also very briefly, because our education curriculum needs a complete change so as to be relevant to the needs of people. Now, the business environment, obviously, that is an area where I'm sure a lot has been said already, but I think that one must add that some of the statistics and some of the studies show that we're one of the poorest places or worst places to do business. Many will attest to the fact that we operate in a largely hostile business environment. And the reasons are human. The reasons why our business environment is the way it is are entirely human. They are not reasons that cannot be resolved or cannot be solved. I mean, if you look at the power sector, for example, if you want to invest in the power sector, say you want to invest in generation, I mean, aside from licensing, you need to establish a company. Assuming that a company has been established, you then need licenses. You need all the generation licenses and all of that from NERC. After you've got all the licenses, of course, you probably need land, right? Now, land is a totally different issue. Titling is a problem. Getting approvals for land. Now, that is the state lands registry. So you may have, all manner of problems just dealing with the land issues. Then you go forward. You need to get all manner of other approvals, and I've listed some of the approvals that you need. Environmental impact assessment from the Federal Ministry of Environment, evaluation studies from the Transmission Company of Nigeria, gas supply agreements from the Gas Aggregation Company of Nigeria, and it goes on. Some people have come into the power sector in Nigeria and have been waiting 3 years, 4 years, just trying to get their investments to go on. And really the point is that we can do much better, because if our business environment is not friendly to investment, then there is really no point, because we can't expect to generate the kind of investments and the jobs and all of the multiplier that investment should bring into our country. So we definitely need to resolve the problems associated with our business environment. And there are a few things that we'll be working on. The first is one-stop shops. Everybody talks about one-stop agencies for approvals, and that really can be done. It's entirely possible for us, especially in the power sector, as an example in the power sector, to have almost a one-stop shop for many of the approvals that are required. It must be important for us to ensure that anyone who wants to bring their money in here, we literally hold them by the hand to ensure that they register their businesses and get all the approvals they need. It is our business to make sure that when someone wants to invest, they are actually encouraged to do so, and it's easy for them to do so. Templates for agreements. I mean, some of the agreements that people have to, renegotiate every time. There are all sorts of templates that we can develop even from the first. If you have one power generation agreement, it should become a template for others. And in other economies, in other societies, it's so easy to get these kinds of templates. And you are not required to renegotiate every single agreement. Of course, we need to eliminate all of the toll gates, the opportunities for bribery and corruption in the whole process of getting approvals. Of course, and we've said this repeatedly, that the government, and General Buhari has said this several times, that in his government, he intends to ensure that there is zero tolerance for corruption. Now that is very important, especially in the business environment, because one of the reasons why you have long delays in the approval process is because people set up deliberate toll gates so that they can make money down the line. And it's very important that we recognize that we kill businesses, and that those who are responsible for approvals and things like that actually kill businesses and kill opportunities for millions of others because they set up these toll gates. So it's the business of government to ensure that those types of, and I refer to them as toll gates, are removed. Sanctity of contracts will be important. When someone signs a contract, they expect that it will be backed by the force of law, and that that government will protect their rights, when they sign contracts. People don't want